Good morning. Today is Monday. It is the first day of our weekly or Holy Week devotions. It's the second day of Holy Week, and we're going to find that it was an important day in the life of Jesus. Two events took place that we need to take a close look at and try to understand what they were. Because Jesus displayed a little bit of anger, he was upset. Sometimes people seem to think that that's just simply the human side of Jesus coming through. I think if we look deeper, we'll find that it is Jesus' godly side coming through, and it is the indignant anger of a holy God who has had all he could take of a rebellious people. Jesus has come to his own people. They have rejected him, and we do know that love has two sides. One is certainly welcoming, and the other is a side of judgment. And what we're seeing here is a little bit of the judgment of God. So let me share these two events with you very quickly. They should be familiar to you. Today we're using the Gospel of Mark, chapter 11. And here we find, beginning in verse 12, the story of Jesus as he was traveling from Bethany back to Jerusalem. He was hungry, and in the distance he saw a fig tree. The fig tree had leaves, and so he went to find out if there was anything on it. And when he came to it, he found nothing but leaves, for it was not the season for figs. And he said to it, "May no one ever eat fruit from you again." And some would say that's just Jesus being petulant, that that's just his human anger. The truth is, as he looked at that tree, he knew that fig trees in Palestine produced their fruit first and then the leaves. So if he saw a fig tree and it had leaves on it, he could rightly assume that there would be fruit on it. There was none. So here we have a barren tree, a fig tree that's worthless. It's useless. Jesus took this opportunity in seeing this tree and in the cursing of the tree to let it represent Israel. They had done a good job of being religious and showing religion. They had done much of that. But the truth is, they didn't know God, and they didn't know his messenger, his son, Jesus. And it didn't take the followers of Jesus very long to figure out the deeper meaning of this event. So it was a visual story, a parable, a teaching time for Jesus to say, you cannot just simply go through the emotions. Earlier, John the Baptist had said that already the axe is laid to the root. And he said trees that aren't producing fruit are going to be cut down and they're going to be tossed away. And now Jesus is bearing this out. And so the message is not just Jesus being angry, but he's angry at hypocrisy. He's angry at folks who pretend to know God and who do not. The second story follows immediately after. They came to Jerusalem, and he went into the temple and began to throw out those buying and selling. In John, it says that he used a whip of cords that he either found or made right there on the spot. And he threw out the money changers and those selling doves and wouldn't permit anyone to carry goods through the temple. He said, "My house will be called a house of prayer for all nations, but you have made it a den of thieves." Again, we see the anger of Christ and the boldness of Christ as he threw out the tables and turned over the chairs and talked and yelled at the top of his voice, and folks all around could see what he was doing. And they let him. Maybe they had a tinge of guilt, perhaps. And here what we're seeing is that the buying and selling, it had a lot of problems. For example, the priests that were doing this were gouging the prices and really raising them up. They were controlling everything that was going on. But in part, they were doing this in the court of the Gentiles. Now, the Gentiles also had a place in the temple. Everyone was welcome to come and to worship God. But here we see Jesus dealing with folks that have taken over the court of Gentiles, in effect, keeping them out. And in a way saying, this is only for us. So they were gouging the people. They were refusing Gentiles to come into their own place. And in essence, nobody was able to worship effectively. So what do we have in these stories? Just the anger of Christ? No, I don't think so. I do think we see the indignant God who has said enough is enough is enough. And what we have then is this, and this is our our summary and our point for us today. Jesus looks for true worship, and he wants it to be in a place and in a manner where all are welcome. May we share Christ in such a way that everyone is welcome to worship him with us. God bless you.